Okay, now we have a fully constrained model. What I want to do before we go and sheet this up is to actually lock these tubes in place, otherwise we're going to get movement. So I'm going to right click, constrain, and we're going to lock with a mate this face to the back edge of the locking tube, and apply, and I'm going to lock with a constraint one of the pivot tabs to the front edge of the locking ring and apply. That's just going to mean that we get no movement. Go back to home, check that there's no movement when we go to place our drawings, because if you go and move something in the assembly and you've already sheeted up your drawings, Inventor's so awesome, it will move all the parts for you. Alright, good idea to hit save. That's saved for us. Now we're going to hit the iPro tab and we're going to create a new metric, and we scroll down, and I usually use the ANSI millimeter.dwg, which is our standard drawing sheet, and hit create. Okay, so there's your blank drawing sheet. The first thing I generally do is right click on sheet 1 and edit the sheet. I usually change it to an A3 size and click OK. Now what we can do is start placing our bases. Now Inventor 2016 is a little different than 15, so if we select base, we want to select from here. We're going to use the folding shovel demo 2, and you can look at that window to see what you're placing. That's the one we want. Hit open. Now I'll just slide that out of the way. In Inventor 2016 it'll bring it in whatever view you've set as your front, and you can just move it around with the standard 3D scrolling block there. So I'm just going to hit the top right corner because this is going to be a 3D view, and that's the view that I want, and I'm going to hit OK. Then we can worry about scale and line types and all that sort of stuff later. So press escape. Now if I hover near the edge, I get that red dotted line. I'm going to double click on that. It gives me my drawing view box. So what we want to do here is go from the hidden lines. I want to use a shaded model, and I want hidden lines removed. Now I'm going to turn the toggle label visibility on. The view is going to be called folding shovel 3D view. I hit that too quick, so I can double click on there and edit that text. View. Scale, I'm going to take out of that label. So I'm going to edit label, and I'm just going to backspace over the scale. It automatically inserts it, and click OK. Scale, I want it a bit bigger, so we'll go 1:2. That's going to fit on the page nicely, and we'll click OK. Okay, so we can move that view into position. I'm going to put it over to the right there, leaving myself room for a pass list. Now the first thing I want to do here is annotate, and I'm going to use balloons, and I'm going to select each part. So I'll hit that edge, left click, and double click. My pivot plate, left click, double click. My main shaft, left click, double click, and so on for all of the parts. Now the only ones I'm missing because of this view are the nuts and washers, but that's not a real big issue. Now what we're going to do is create a parts list. So we'll click on that. We select the document that we want the parts list based on. For this instance, we want the folding shovel assembly complete. So we click open and we'll click OK. And we're just going to dock that parts list to the left and the bottom. And we'll see we've got a heap of information there. It looks kind of messy. So we can go in and modify what columns we have here quite easily. All you do is, once it's red, double click, and we want to go into column chooser. Now the columns that I want to keep the item, I want to remove that quantity, and in its place I want file name. So we go over to the menu here and add that, and I'm going to move that up to the second position. I want, above the part number, I want item quantity. So I'm going to find item quantity and add that. And that's going to sit right behind the file name. I want part number and I want material instead of description. So I'll go over to here and find material and add that to the list. So item, file name, item quantity, part number, material, and click OK and apply. Now you'll see that our parts list has changed, and if I hover on a word there, I get a cursor so I can move around and dock it correctly. So what this does, we have our item numbers which also correspond to our balloons. We have our file name, which is what we created the parts as, and it will show as IPTs, or in the instance of the handle, because that was a frame, that's an assembly. It gives us the quantity of items that are in the assembly. It gives us our part number, and because we created the main shaft, pivot plates, locking collars out of standard materials from the materials library, it actually gives the part name with the base material dimensions, and it tells us what the material is. The only one that doesn't in this instance is the handle, because we created that as a sketch and then placed the frame over it. So all you have to do there, if you double click on the parts list, you can go in and manually add steel mild. And the blade, you can also make that steel mild. Now if you wanted more descriptions in your part numbers, or you actually wanted a description, you could add those in by changing your columns in your column chooser. I'm just going to leave those as they are for now. Okay, you can see those descriptions are in there. We'll also go in and add a title, so that's using text. Left click on that, left click in the space, folding shovel assembly. Now if that text isn't big enough for you, you can double click on it, highlight it, and change your text size. And if it's not in the right spot, just drag it around. Likewise for the title, you can highlight that, change its size. You can make it bold if you want, it's up to you. Okay, there's our first sheet, and we'll save that one, and we'll call that, it automatically does it, folding shovel demo.dwg, and save. Make sure if these pop up, you make sure you hit yes to all, because anything you've modified you need to save those. first drawing sheet done.